times. But speaking of being brought off the bench, that is no longer Malik Monk. Malik Monk has been cooking so far as he is in the starting lineup. The Kings' 4 highest scoring quarters of the season have occurred in the 5 games since Malik Monk has entered the starting lineup. First quarter against the Spurs, that was last Sunday. Quarter 3 versus the Rockets on Tuesday. Quarter 4 against the Spurs on Friday. And quarter 3 against the Jazz on Sunday. 6 of their 11 highest scoring quarters this season. 79 points in the second half is tied for the most in franchise history, the third most in franchise history. Most points in regulation, 141 since December 18, 2023 against the Wizards. Fox scoring has taken a small step back with Malik Monk starting, while averaging 1.5 more assists per game over those 5 games. So they're sharing some of the playmaking duties, even though De'Aaron Fox's scoring hasn't been exactly where it has before. But again, they were losing those games. This is from Will Z Stats. This is that assist number that I mentioned. Kings games with 30 or more assists this season. The first 20 games of the season with Malik Monk either coming off the bench or injured, they had 2 games with 30 or more assists out of the first 20 games of the season. Last 5 games with Malik Monk starting, 4 of those games, they've gone over 30 assists. 4. So this is a very important stat because of how much Mike Brown talks about touching the paint and getting those spray threes. And it's not just Malik Monk. When he beats a guy and someone's got to help, now he passes it out. Now that, and we don't even talk about the hockey assists. Now the next guy that's got the ball, his guy is trying to help. So now you pass it again, and the ball is just hopping more because of how electric Malik Monk is with the ball in his hands, and defenders just aren't able to keep up. You got to send help. You got to crash the middle, and then you spray out, and whether that guy's feeling it or not, they kick it around, and you can see it. The ball is hopping right now. The ball is hopping, and that's exactly what the Kings were hoping for going into the season. It's not like Malik Monk is doing anything different. You're just getting it as soon as the ball tips off. As soon as it tips off, Ramsey.
Here's what I do have to say about Malik. For those that have not watched it or aren't as in tune as many people are with basketball, you have to watch the Malik Monk to the Domantas Sabonis pocket pass. It is an art form.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. And almost every single time it's successful. And the way they just have a tandem and a rhythm with it, it's successful. And that's just the start of the ball finding energy. Once that happens, everything else around the team finds energy. And I mean, as you know, we both were at the game last night, and there were, I don't know how many possessions I can count on my hand. It may have taken multiple hands where the ball skipped around and all 5 players touched it at least once before they found a shot.
Yeah.
Regardless whether they made it or missed it.
Yeah. And I think the big thing with the pocket pass is, I don't know about you, but how many times has Malik got that look in his eye and you know it's coming and you think it's pretty crowded in there. I don't know if he's going to be able to fit it, and he does every single time. Now, there'll be some turnovers in there, but his ability to just get the ball to Domas and keep the ball moving, even when it doesn't look like it's going to get through, that's just one of his staples. And now almost the tree of Malik Monk as far as what he's able to do and how he's kind of working through his game and still learning his game, by the way, as he's, getting into his prime. I just think the sky's the limit with this guy. I felt there were times last season, especially not having DeMar as that escape valve, and we'll get into DeMar and this new role that we're seeing from him where, hey, if y'all need something, if things get a little bit tight, just pass it to me. I'm going to do my thing, but it's not here, DeMar, go. You go from tip off. Now it's, if y'all need me, y'all know where to find me.
Here's one thing I do have to say on Malik Monk as well that has developed, and especially developed with the Kings, is his little probe dribble that he does when he goes into the paint, probes, takes the, I don't know if you want to call it the James Harden step back, but 2 little step back, and he either finds the 3 or dishes out, resets, and they go back to it again. It's becoming his second art form outside of that pocket pass that we just spoke on about a minute ago.
Malik Monk, 26 years old, man. So you have two dudes, and we've spent so much time doomsdaying. And look, if they lose to the Pelicans on Thursday with no Brandon Ingram and Zion, Friday going to be tough. I'll tell you that much. But as of right now, we spend so much time doomsdaying because, yes, they're still under 500, and you want them to be further along than they are. But Kevin Huerter is 26. Malik Monk is 26. De'Aaron Fox is 26. And Keegan Murray, he's about to turn 20. De'Aaron Fox turns 27 in a couple weeks now.
In 11 days.
And yes, in 11 days. And Keegan Murray is 24 years old. Okay, so that's four guys, and Domas is the elder statesman. I'm pretty sure Domas is probably, I think he's 28 something. He's 28, and he turned 28 this year. All right? So with all that being said, who's to say Malik Monk isn't going to keep getting better? Who's to say that De'Aaron Fox isn't going to keep getting better? Who's to say that Keegan Murray isn't going to keep getting better? Each and every day, and like I said, and Kevin Huerter as well, as maybe he figures he continues to find his footing in the league. These guys enter the league so early that you forget what timelines actually look like. I am not sitting here and saying that the Kings are gonna they're 2 years away from a championship. I'm not even saying to not make a move, something like or anything like that. What I'm saying is days like today, you put things in perspective. And when you look at where the Kings are at versus blowing something up or making a rash decision, if the real question comes down to whether De'Aaron Fox, how happy is he? And when you win games, obviously you're going to be happier. Because it's really more about, hey, is De'Aaron possibly going to not want to stay with the team? Because outside of that, and we know that DeMar DeRozan, at 35 years old, he's not going to play forever. But outside of that, there are going to be some tough decisions to be made to get that last star or last piece, whatever you need. But outside of that, you do have a legit core that is about to enter their prime. I don't know what the ceiling is per se, but nobody does.
And here's one thing I'm going to say, as you say about the prime and the ages that you brought up. If you speak to any one of those three or four gentlemen you just named and ask them about their 19-year-old self when they came in the league to now and what they know now in comparison to when they were 19, they wish they knew at 19 what they know now and are able to have the skill set, have the basketball IQ and acumen to put it all together. And if they can find a way to keep this core together as best as possible, I mean, we don't know what we'll get, but it could be very special.
And the West is a juggernaut. We get that. The West is crazy. So that's why I said you're probably going to have to make some tough decisions somewhere, but you're in a better spot than I think you may have thought. And with that being said, some of the games and some of the things that tick us off about the Kings, that's because they're still trying to get there. And that's okay. A lot of people thought that this was the season. A lot of people thought that this is the season, but a lot of people thought this was the season before the season because we've talked about how a team makes a huge move and it takes them a year to figure things out. People wrote off Rudy Gobert to the Timberwolves. Now, obviously, they went and did something else, but people wrote that off. People wrote off a couple of these other moves that got made where it didn't work the first year. So a lot of people thought, okay, this is going to be the season the Kings make a move. You just wanted to make the playoffs. Somebody was saying championship, and that's what we want to see. But let's not forget, these guys are just now entering their prime together. They're all entering their prime together outside of DeMar DeRozan and Domas, who's only a couple years older than them and will only be a year older than De'Aaron in about 11 days here. So what Malik is doing, I think the worry was that he wasn't going to be able, number one was the bench scoring. Number two, he wasn't going to be able to sustain this, and the turnovers might be an issue. Hasn't been the case so far. It turns out that, he's more than just a microwave scorer, and we knew all that, but Malik is really showing all the tricks in his bag if I'm going to go, in that direction and be Mark Jones a little bit before we get to the other side. When we do get back, I know it feels like a long time ago, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Kings and Spurs, what the Kings did to the Spurs with no Victor Wembanyama. Not a ton to talk about there simply because, well, they didn't have Victor Wembanyama, but the Kings did take care of business. We opened back up the phone lines, 916-339-1140 as we approach the 12 o'clock hour. Hope you get some good lunch, whatever you got going. We're going to talk you through it as you have your lunch break or whatever it may be. Coming up next, Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.